Hello, I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I am Andrew DeWolf.
And I'm Brianna Jones.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew and Bree to like musical theater. Andrew, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing actually fantastically. I went down to the local market, okay? And I saw this person who they looked so crazy. And I was like, you know what would be great? What if I got a big tent and I got a bunch of people that look weird and I like to laugh at, and I got other people to pay me to come into the tent so they can point and laugh at these freaks as well. Wouldn't that be a really swell idea?
Can I join?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, great.
Wait, no, you guys are having an affair. I'm a publicity man. I took a picture of you, and you kissed, and I'm going to send it to your wife, you bastard.
Oh, like I give a shit. Just don't burn my building down.
And I'm also going to burn down your building.
Oh, no.
And I'm also a critic. I'm a big old theater critic. I'm a lot of things.
Oh my god, everything is out to get me. The whole world hates me, and I'm a millionaire. This sucks.
Boom! Ladies and gents, this is the moment you waited for.
He's doing it. He's going for it.
We're talking about The Greatest Showman, guys. Bree, cue the music!
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. You've been searching in the dark, your sweat soaking through the floor. And buried in your bones, there's an ache that you can't ignore. Taking your breath, stealing your mind, and all that was real is left behind.
The Greatest Showman is a movie musical with music by Pasek and Paul and lyrics by Pasek and Paul. A script by Jenny Bix and Bill Condon, who you might know from the Twilight series or the horrible Beauty and the Beast remake. It was based on the life of P.T. Barnum. It opened in theaters on December 20th, 2017. It was nominated for Best Original Song at the Oscars, but lost to Remember Me from Coco, which, yeah, about right. The plot is orphaned, penniless, but ambitious with a mind crammed with imagination and fresh ideas. The American entertainer Phineas Taylor Barnum will always be remembered as the man with the gift to blur the line between reality and fiction. Thirsty for innovation and hungry for success, the son of a tailor manages to open a wax museum. However, he soon shifts his focus to the unique and peculiar, introducing extraordinary, never-before-seen live action on the circus stage. Now, some people call Barnum's rich collection of oddities an outright freak show. But when Phineas, obsessed for cheers and respectability, gambles everything on the opera singer Jenny Lind to appeal to a highbrow audience, he will lose sight of the most crucial aspect of his life, his family. Will Barnum, the Greatest Showman, risk it all to be accepted?
You already said yes. That was in the description.
This is the greatest show!
This show
Andrew,
is a mess.
What did you think of The Greatest Show?
Okay, well, I've heard some of these songs, when I go out shopping at Target and I'm like, listen to the radio that they play and you hear the Million Dreams and I'm like, oh, okay, that's like a pop song. Turns out it's from this. That's pretty sweet, I think.
Is it?
No. The story of this is an absolute disaster, and I guess some people might have remembered when I talked about Evita being historically accurate is usually something you'd want to be.
Yeah, or at least not like outright.
Yeah, outright wrong. This is definitely outright wrong, I would say.
Yeah.
Very, very, very solid whitewash of Phineas Taylor Barnum.
Yeah, they cut out all the parts where he dissected human beings, their corpses, former slaves. Yeah, they just didn't bring that up in this movie.
No. He also, in this, is very, very nice to his quote-unquote freaks, which I don't
Great guy.
is accurate. It feels like he was probably profiting off of them in the fact that society did not
He was
like
the
them.
first to accept them for who they were, Andrew.
Yeah, no, he was the first to make $1 million off showing them off in a cage.
And they don't even talk about the animal abuse.
Oh no, I mean there's elephants and they have him ride an elephant down the street.
That's
of,
the climax
New York.
of the movie. That's the final bit of the movie.
Yeah, he rides an elephant down the street of New York in the winter. It's snowing. An elephant. Elephants usually you see in the desert. or somewhere like that, the jungle. I don't hot places that are hot, not the city where it is cold. You usually don't see elephants there.
But there's nowhere hotter than the greatest show on earth, Andrew.
Oh man,
I feel like there's no way to properly talk about this musical without memeing on it, is the thing.
okay, well, I think
It has
there's
become so popular that it has become a meme, I think is the best way to say it.
So I have told some people that I do a podcast where I talk about musicals, right?
Yes.
And I think at least 2 of those people I have told have retorted to me like, oh, yeah, I love musicals. My favorite one is The Greatest Showman. And now that I've seen it, I'm like, wait, this isn't even a musical. Like, it's not even like a movie version of a musical where it's like, it has less songs and like, but it's still kind of a musical, like a Disney movie or something like that. Like, this just isn't a musical. It just doesn't, the songs don't have anything to do with the story. Most of the songs are just cutouts to do dance numbers. I mean, if you're going to compare it to anything, it's like Cats.
Yes. And I'm going to have the hashtag controversial opinion here. I don't think it's directed poorly. I don't think this is a badly directed movie. I think this director is very passionate about shooting musical numbers. But as soon as we're not in a musical number, my God, this film is unwatchable.
It's a good thing there is a lot of musical numbers, though.
I mean, there's 9, which is pretty good for like an hour and 45-minute movie. Like, this is shorter than most musicals, and I guess it makes sense. And also on top of that, I think this director could have made Cats work as a film.
I mean, he probably could have done better. I mean, the songs they did produce, I think they overproduced the songs for my taste. They sound very poppy because they're so produced. But you know what? It's better to overproduce a song and have it sound good but like not natural than it is to do what Cats did, where it's just, I mean, go watch Sideways' video about Cats. I mean, just if you haven't seen that, like the rhythm is everywhere. They don't care. Like they do not care. They cut out harmonies. They do everything with the Cats music. It's awful.
I also like the fact is 2 of the most highest grossing movie musicals of all time both star Hugh Jackman, and their approaches to the actual music in it are so insanely different.
Yeah.
Like this and Les Mis are like night and day despite being a big budget musical starring Hugh Jackman.
I think I prefer this.
As a film, yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've already said I don't think it counts as a musical. It is a musical movie, which I think I have in the past said that there's a distinction. I believe that was my argument in the La La Land episode against Brent ranting about how La La Land doesn't follow musical theater structure.
It doesn't.
Yeah, but again, I think there is a distinction between a musical and a musical or in a movie that has music in it, you know? I think the problem with this is that it kind of tries to follow the musical theater format, but doesn't really. I don't know.
They had 2 songwriters, because we've talked about the guys that did this before in like 3 or 4 separate occasions. Pasek and Paul, I think this is our 5th show by them. Let's jump through them. We did La La Land, we did Dear Evan Hansen, we did Dogfight, we did A Christmas Story, and that would bring us to 5.
Very hit or miss track record for me so far.
I mean, more hits than not, I feel like, in that list. Like, Dear Evan Hansen is the big, like, no.
Dear Evan Hansen was a miss. I liked La La Land enough, especially the music. Dogfight was okay.
It was fine.
Christmas Story was okay. And this is okay. So I feel like they're just kind of one terrible one, and then all mediocre outside of that.
But Andrew, don't forget, before the year's out, we're going to have to revisit the terrible one. So the reason why The Greatest Showman got bumped up into our schedule, because we don't tend to do shows like this, we don't tend to do like movie musicals very often, is because I really want to cover all of Pasek and Paul's shows before the Dear Evan Hansen movie comes out in 2020 or 2021 September. In theory, maybe it won't. We'll see. Thanks, COVID.
Yeah, I mean, we've never been afraid to cover musical adjacent content before. I mean, we've done Muppet stuff, we've done Disney stuff. I mean, it's okay.
But this is one of those rare this film is just a strange anomaly. Like, it was a huge success. On an $86 million budget, it made $400 million. It was a huge financial success, and it was good counter-programming. It opened against Star Wars The Last Jedi, which was the big sci-fi tentpole for, like, gender-based, aimed at young boys and all that. Whereas this was more aimed at families and parents and older folks. And people kept coming back because they really liked the songs.
Yeah. I mean, people still like the songs. They're some of the biggest pop hits of the last couple of years. I'm still hearing them. I mean,
this is the first musical to like have original songs that chart like the top 5. Like even Hamilton didn't really have that. They did their like famous like Hamilton mixtape and all that with famous people, and they still really didn't crack the big hits.
I kind of feel like it's because this isn't a musical, though. And I'm sure you're going to want to get into this, none of the songs have any lyrical content that has anything to do... Like, Hamilton is extremely well-written lyric-wise.
Specific.
Yes. Probably the best thing about Hamilton is how lyrically written it is, and how well they do that. And this is, like, the exact opposite. Like, if you just released this album, and it was, like, Lady Gaga Pink. Or something, or Pink. Somebody puts this out. Some pop artist puts this out. It would be totally normal, and no one would ever think there was a story attached to any of it. Like, it's not even a concept album. Like, I don't even think you can call it that. None of it has any plot. If you just listen to the songs all in a row, you would have no fucking clue what this is about.
So let's talk about a bit about the history of the film. So this film has been in production for years and years and years. It has been like this ever development hell thing. This baby of Hugh Jackman and the director Michael Grady. And there's been writers in and out. In fact, at a certain point, like Michael Arndt, who did Little Miss Sunshine and Star Wars The Force Awakens rewrites and Toy Story 3, he wrote a draft of it. And he just couldn't figure out a way to integrate the songs that were brought to the table. And Pasek and Paul are constantly rewriting songs and trying to make them work. And by the end of it, we have like 5 different scripts shoved together to make this one. And you feel it. You feel like there's like 9 different plot lines, and if we had focused on any one of them, we might have a functioning story. But we did all of them, and none of them work.
And it doesn't really help that the plot is constantly interrupted with dance scenes that really don't progress the plot in any way.
Well, the thing is, those are the only things that gives you energy. Like,
well, yeah,
right, can we break
they are
down
the best.
Plots?
Yeah, we can break down the plot. I mean,
no, the plots, multiple.
Okay, yeah. The first plot is that he wants to be with his wife or whatever, and that's what we open it with. He is
a penniless boy that wants to be with the high aristocrat girl.
Which this actually gets resolved very quickly. I mean, he is
5-minute mark.
He is loaded and living in a mansion, like not even 10 minutes in.
20 minutes in, he is living in a mansion. 10 minutes in, he got the girl that he was separated from.
Yeah. So what
12 minutes in, he loses his job. 15 minutes in, he starts the barn in place.
I mean, you can say that this is like a rags to riches story, but the rags part is the first 5 minutes, and the riches part is like the last hour and a half. So,
yeah, you're not wrong.
So there you go.
All right, so he gets the girl, he has the kids, and then he's like, all right, I lose my job, and I'm gonna con my way into making a fortune through wax figures. And then the wax figures falls apart. Oh no, what am I gonna do? Freaks.
Yeah, so he hires a bunch of I mean, I don't want to
freaks.
They call them freaks in the show. I mean, I wouldn't refer to these people as freaks if I met them in real life, but we will call them freaks here because that's what they refer to them as shorthand. In the show. So the freaks that he hires, and he has to gather them up, and they have like this empowerment arc in a way where they're empowered
that doesn't come until later. Hold on, we still got plot to go.
You're right. What do you have? What's next?
Okay, so that goes in, and he has this consistent fight with a critic throughout about how he's not making real art. Well, we're going to put a pin in that, and we're going to come back to that later. All right? So
yeah.
He does this, and he's like, well, I need money, so obviously we need to woo another financier. In comes Zac Efron.
Yeah, so then he gets Zac Efron, who is playing, what is it, Carnegie? No. What's his name?
Oh, God. He's someone.
It starts with a C. I'm pretty sure it starts with a C, and I can't remember.
Is it Philip Carley?
Yes.
Yes. Is it Carly? Carla?
It's Carlisle? It's
I think it's
Carl?
Carlisle.
Yeah,
Carlisle.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, so Carlisle, he gets him to get him money, and that also was a relatively short one. There's like one song.
Yeah,
number.
that's done in one song sequence. But
Actually,
the thing
probably the only song that actually has plot relevance, and
yes,
even that song still manages lyrically to have very little to do with what's actually happening. But
it has more than all the rest, but that's not saying much.
Yes, it does have more than the rest.
All right. So at that moment, after Zac Efron joins our troupe, two different movies start again. We've got the one about the different classes. We got Zac Efron wanting to be with Zendaya, but they can't be together because he's a rich, important man, and she is a black woman, and apparently that's too much for these people.
I mean, I think back in those days it was illegal, or at least extremely frowned upon, so that's understandable, I suppose.
I mean, it is, but also it doesn't belong in this movie, and it is.
Oh no!
On one hand, it is the most interesting plot line and the one you feel the most emotion for. Like you're rooting for this couple, honestly. But on the other hand, this is a stupid movie about circus people.
Yeah, the thing is that it really that should have been the entire focus of the movie if you really wanted to go in depth with that, because they never really get into like the racism element.
At that same moment with Zac Efron and Zendaya having their plot, we introduce another character, opera singer Jenny Lind. Why? Screw you, that's why. And suddenly Barnum doesn't want to deal in animals and like freak show attractions. He wants to promote this one opera singer. Yeah,
because he needs to impress this guy that is actually a recurring character.
Recurring critic. We put a pin in him. He doesn't like Barnum.
He really needs to impress that person because he really cares. He's very poorly characterized. Like he is always shown as being like this dreamer type who's in love with the woman and whatever, but he's also supposed to be this like person who only cares about his own image, and he just kind of bounces back and forth between those two things. So
feels like several people wrote the script and they just Frankensteined it together.
Yeah, so like when they need him to be a loving and caring person, he does everything he can for his wife, and when they need him to be a self-centered, only cares about his own personal image, he runs off with an opera singer.
Yeah, but the thing is, like when he's with her, we're supposed to think like, oh, is there infidelity going on there? But no, there isn't. It just is framed bad, and then she's love sick for him, and he's like, no, honey, I got a wife. And then his wife thinks he cheated on her, but he didn't, and oh, it's so awkward. And while he's gone, they burn down, because there's an entire arc about how the people in the town hate the freaks, and they treat them more like garbage than they do like the actual racism.
Yeah.
Like they hate the freaks. It's weird.
I mean, that actually is, I think that is the racial part. That's where I believe that's where the word slur is said, which that should have been saved for, I think that should have been saved for his parents, but his parents actually don't really say anything. His parents are just like, I can't believe you're going out with someone like that, which is like, okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure these people in the real world would be saying like, the N-word or something, but, let's just pretend that they would just say someone like that and dog whistle it.
So P.T. Barnum comes back and he just last minute barely saves Zac Efron.
Yeah, because Zac Efron runs into a burning building to save
Zendaya.
Did they give her a name? They did. No, they did. They did, but it was so short. There's so many characters that don't have names.
And Wheeler.
Yes, the Wheelers. Yes, because it was like they were like brother and sister, and the brother gets no screen time.
Brother is there. He is definitely there.
Yeah, very important characters, obviously.
It's really the characters that makes this story come alive. No pun intended.
They somehow take that racial arc and they make it entirely about the white character and how he's reacting to it. It's really just cringe.
Yeah, it's cringe. And then, in one big thing, P.T. Barnum wins back his old friends at the Freaks and his wife all in one go. in one number, and then he reopens the tent, P.T. Barnum's Circus, but now it's a tent and not a building, so he can keep moving.
Yeah, now he can keep moving, and now his freaks that were living in the basement will have to live in a tent. So very cool.
And then he leaves them, and Zac Efron runs the show.
Yeah,
because he wants to spend time with his family.
You
know, the same arc as Liar Liar, and The Haunted Mansion, and Meet Dave, probably.
It's all very terrible.
Wow.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, it is a mishmash. It's still fun though. Like, I don't know how it manages, but it still manages to be fun.
Yeah. When it's a musical number, you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I think really it comes down that the biggest benefit of the movie is that the music has nothing to do with the story, because the story is all so terrible that it actually helps that the music has nothing to do with it.
I agree. And the thing is, people are still watching and loving this movie. I'm sure that most of the people listening to this love this movie.
I mean, I didn't dislike it. I don't know. I think the things that made me angry about it is more the taking the historical elements of it and just dumbing it all down and removing all the bad things that happened both back in that time and that Barnum himself did. But, you know, that's all meta stuff, I guess. And if you just look at the movie as a movie, it's fine.
Well, I don't know what we have to say is the sad part. Like, this movie doesn't give you much. This isn't much of a thing. How does it rank among Pasek and Paul's other work that we've covered?
I think La La Land is better as like the same thing, but I think I preferred it. I don't really remember Dogfight like at all. It had like no impression. So,
do you even remember the plot of Dogfight? Just out for my curiosity.
Yeah, the dogfight is they are trying to get ugly girls or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
What is with these guys and having really cringe plots?
I think Dear Evan Hansen is the king of cringe, to be honest.
Yeah, it definitely is. But like these guys constantly work on these plots that are like just about bad things.
But who cares what we think about it? It's time for our favorite segment where we compare our opinions to those of the critics. It's time for Previews.
It's time for previews. It's time for previews.
Let's see. Hypothetically, let's see if I was ready. I don't know. Oh boy. The Conservative Book Review says, screenwriters Jenny Bix and Bill Condon may as well have been talking to real critics. Just as with Star Wars: The Last Jedi, a giant chasm exists between critics and fans. Exists? Why does it say exists twice?
Because they don't know how to write. They're conservative, Andrew.
A giant chasm... I'm going to read it as written. A giant chasm exists between critics and fans exists on the review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes. 55 rotten to critics and 90% fresh to fans. The bottom line is that The Greatest Showman seems to be suffering from political backlash for billing itself as wholesome entertainment instead of ham-fisted left-wing propaganda in a sustained attack on capitalism.
You're just gonna let that part breathe? Let that sit in the air there?
Yeah. Is there more? Does this keep going?
Just skip to the last paragraph.
Okay. Moviegoers who enjoy musicals, particularly those who have children, should see The Greatest Showman during its theatrical release. It's 1 hour and 45 minutes of clean fun. Barnum says at one point that people will pay for the pleasure of being hoodwinked, but Jackman's performance is definitely not a con job. Sustained attack on capitalism!
But not a con job.
Oh, gosh. I don't even...
What the fuck is that insanity?
Is this one sentence like the only part where they're negative and then...
Yes! I don't even understand what it means is the worst part.
Wait, no, I get it. I actually do get it. Never mind.
Okay, you get it.
We have it backwards. Okay.
Right.
The bottom line is that The Greatest Showman seems to be suffering from political backlash for billing itself as wholesome entertainment. They're saying it is wholesome entertainment and that people are backlashing against it because it isn't ham-fisted left-wing propaganda and a sustained attack on capitalism. That's what they're saying.
The thing is, I don't think The Last Jedi has a lot of problematic things. I don't think it's an attack on capitalism.
Star Wars The Last Jedi is ham-fisted left-wing propaganda and a sustained attack on capitalism.
I really don't think it is.
Okay, so
I
that
get
I
the
think
other problems with that.
that makes sense though. That actually makes sense, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess if we're tearing it apart. So is The Greatest Showman a conservative masterpiece? What you're telling me, Mr. Ben Shapiro?
You know what? I actually agree with this review now. At first I was like, what the heck are they talking about? How could you possibly spin this as a sustained attack on capitalism? But now that I realize that it's flipped and they're saying that it is conservative media, I agree. This show...
I mean, wait, you missed the part right here where it says the critics demand that the musical dance numbers about circus acts offer heavy-handed partisan politics. That's what we all want from our musicals, Andrew.
They're saying that the critics want that. Where in the movie doesn't deliver that. The movie delivers conservative, wholesome values, family values.
The thing is, this movie doesn't offer anything. It is so muddled in its messaging, it doesn't have a point.
I think if it actually has any clear messages, the only clear message it has is that capitalism is good.
Maybe. And I guess by that standing, it is a conservative masterpiece.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about it. The Million Dreams song, he's like, I'm going to change the world for the better. And what does he do to change the world for the better? His perfect world he has imagined in his mind that keeps him awake at night at all times is the world exactly the same as it is before, but he hires a bunch of freaks to work for him and he makes $1 million.
The Jeff Bezos story. All right, we've got another review, and I'm going to let you read this one. What we got?
Thank you. This one is from Richard Roper from the Sun-Times, the Chicago Sun-Times. He said that just about every moment in The Greatest Showman is dripping with corny and cheesy and shameless sentiment. No kidding, there were times when I rolled my eyes to the ceiling with all the subtlety of a round-faced emoji. But then I looked down and realized my foot was once again tapping in time to the beat of the catchy tunes, at which point I'd just settle back and acknowledge I was thoroughly enjoying myself despite all cynical instincts.
Good for you, Richard Roper. I mean, that sums it up. Like, yeah, the songs are pretty fun and all that, but you know what? And all the rest of it ain't that fun.
Yeah.
All right, do you agree with these reviews, Andrew?
I mean, kinda.
Yeah, they're not as cutting as Ben Brantley, film critics.
I'm gonna say the conservative book review one, I disagree with all of the things where they're saying that critics want left-wing propaganda and sustained attacks on capitalism.
They don't. They love The Incredibles.
I don't believe that's at all what critics are looking for. In fact, I don't think I've ever heard any movie critic talk about that in any way. Other than this, but the stuff like the rest
How
of it is
would you squeeze left-leaning politics into The Greatest Showman?
I can think of one way. We could have the performers unionize when they realize that Barnum is screwing them,
or like actually focus on the racial subplot more than not at all.
Yeah, and maybe have the racial subplot actually seen through the eyes of the person who's being discriminated against and not through their love interest.
Hey Andrew, tell me one thing about her aside from the fact that she is the race she is. Tell me one thing.
Well, I mean, she's an acrobat.
I mean, about her as a human being.
Oh, not a profession thing?
Yeah.
She
or
doesn't...
physical description.
She doesn't like that racism exists.
Boy, I agree with that. You know
Cutting.
what? I don't like that racism exists either.
She's in love with Zac Efron.
I mean, how can I blame her? She wants to rewrite the stars, Andrew.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've chuffed long enough about the story of this nonsense. I think it's time we talk advertising. Are we ready to go into a mid-show?
Yeah, sure, we can do some advertising.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. It's time for us to talk about the ads in the middle of the show. Hey, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show, but we've got a shill at you. Today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. Andrew, tell us about Patreon, and I'll let people know who's following us on there.
Patreon is where you can go if you'd like to donate some money to us and get some extra content. We have a Gallivant show going on right now where we're talking about all the episodes of Gallivant. We also have
You bet your sweet biddy I am.
Yes. We also have a backlog of a lot of different commentaries on Annie and what else have we done?
Oliver and Company.
Oliver
we did
and
Hocus
Company,
Pocus, Nightmare Before
Pocus,
Christmas.
Yeah. We've done a lot of stuff, and we have
There's a lot of stuff. I think there's like over 150 posts there of just content only for patrons.
Glee podcast. We did
Yes.
Fosse Verdon. We just have lots of stuff on there. We also do a meetup for people donating. Is it $10?
$10 or more. It's not even a lot.
$10 or more, and you can do a meetup with us every month where we have.
And it's not just us. We have guests all the time. Like we have a lot of people more famous than us.
Yeah, lots of people. We've had Brent Black on there. We've had Sideways on there. We've had Princess on there.
Princess Weeks. And we're gonna have more in the future. I'm hoping it's gonna be a good year for those, and those are just gonna keep getting better. So there's never a better time to become a patron. But our current supporters are Melissa Goldman, Terry Needleman, John Donna, Max Lunig, Lily Ackles, Danielle Renix, Jess the Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Taskier, Fire September, Monica Thoreau, Mina Maniri, Brent Black, Haley Murray, Allison Wonderland, B-Way Flicks, Nathaniel Stacy Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Carrie Ahern, Irigale Jouet Whiter, Christine Malmadel, Cole Birchfield, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanals, heck you, I go by Elijah now, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Andrew Van Barson, Tablam, Kyle Summers, Jen A.C., Kyle, Christina Francis, Felice A., Skylar, Liz Lynn, Corey Wilmarth, Allison Stellar, Nothing is Certain, Except Beth and Taxes, Elizabeth, Thesbian with a B, Ren Cullen, Jamie Holland, Wait in the Wings, Lady Malvolia, Spectacle Machine, Jacob Stroop, Robert Benjamin, Richard T., Jessica Tubis, Genevieve Hartnett, Cassandra Pena, Michelle Young, Dale Windecker Jr., Chai Teacup, and there's two more, hold on, Hayden Wilder and Katie McDonough. These folks give us a little extra financial support that helps us keep the lights on, helps us pay Bree, helps us be a happy family here. And also, one thing that Andrew did not mention, but you guys will see in action next week, if you take our highest ranking position, you can be a guest on Musicals with Cheese and choose what musical we cover. Mina Maniri is joining us next week to talk about A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, so that could be you next time.
Oh, yes.
But I think we've shilled enough. You want to get back to the show, Andrew?
Oh, yes, I do.
All right, let's get to it. So, Andrew,
Yeah.
that opening number, The Greatest Show.
That opening number is really
It
good.
almost fools you into thinking you're going to watch a good movie, right?
Yeah, I think it's the best number. Like, it's really striking. I like the yells they do, and then the quiet like talk, and then they have the big dance in the tent. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for an opening number, like, it feels like an actual Broadway opening number of like something you could see to like get you ready for like the excitement. It means nothing is the other thing. It's just a bunch of visuals and editing. But
the next time we even see the circus tent and like that sort of scene isn't even until the very end of the movie. It's like the way that it's framed. It's like this is gonna be like what the movie is, right? No, not at all.
It is not. It is a good scene, and it was what they marketed the movie off of, just that scene, and it worked.
Yeah.
I was convinced by the trailer alone that this movie was going to work because of how good the editing, the pacing, and the momentum of this song is.
It's very good, though. I mean, I enjoy the scene, and I think you kind of have to take this movie like scene by scene. It's almost just like every song is its own little dance number, and the editing is good and the dances are good, and that's all you can really get out of it.
Well,
It's
that's
like
kind of
eye
the reason
candy.
why I think this guy could have done Cats. Because Cats is literally nonsense numbers that mean nothing but look cool.
Well, unless you're the Cats movie, in which case you try to make a story out of it that just flops.
Well, that's kind of the thing I appreciate about this guy. This guy didn't even try with a story.
Yeah.
Didn't even put an effort in.
No,
in fact.
all of the effort is in all of the music numbers, which
Exactly.
I think for what it does, it works, and it has some fun scenes because of it.
Yeah, this song's fun. Do you want to talk about the I Want song next? Nonsense number 2, A Million Dreams?
Sure. Can you, using the words of the lyrics, tell us what he wants?
Let's pull up the lyrics right now and see if I can do that.
Yeah, what does he want,
Actually,
Jess?
Bree, I am gonna read verbatim the lyrics and see if you can tell me what his goals are. Are you ready for this, Bree?
Yes, I'm ready. I like games. Let's do it.
Yeah, we don't play enough games on here.
We don't.
Okay, so here's verse 1. I close my eyes and I can see the world that's waiting up for me that I call my own, through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. All right? You getting anything there?
No.
Okay. All right.
Maybe he wants to go home.
No, because, I mean, kind of. His dad
He wants a
did
place
die.
that feels like home.
Feels
Okay,
like home.
So he wants something to feel like home.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I'm just going to skip right to the chorus now. Because every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head, a million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see, a million dreams is all it's going to take. Oh, a million dreams for a world we're going to make. He wants to make a world, right?
Yeah,
What did
he's
he
like a
smoke?
revolutionary.
What did he smoke before bed? Is what I'm wondering.
I see so many colors!
Yeah.
Sativa.
Our point is that you cannot tell what he wants.
Yeah, it doesn't really say anything. It's just words that he's saying that mean nothing.
It's
I will say the most concrete wants comes from the wife character who chimes in the second to last verse, which is, however big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. Like, that's concrete. I want to be with you through it all. I understand your goals. It's not feminist at all. I don't agree with it, but I get it.
Well, I mean, women could still want to be with somebody. I mean, that's not anti-feminist, Jess. I mean,
So is this supposed to be the I Want song?
Yep.
Okay, and we're unclear what he wants.
Yep. A million
Yeah.
dreams. He's got a million dreams that are keeping him awake.
to be honest, it feels more like something like a revolutionary would sing. Like they want to create a new world, like this is someone who is like radical and like, I don't like the world we're in and I want to create a new one. Which is why it's so disappointing that he doesn't even come close to doing that.
He dissects humans for the entertainment of a large audience. What more can you support about a man?
What a better world that he has created.
Animals are enslaved to it so much that it affects our current lifetimes. That is the world he created.
Brilliant.
Like that. Bravo, P.T. Barnum. Phineas Taylor Barnum.
Man, I'm looking at the song list right now. I'm really...
Why?
I'm actually
Why
thinking
do you do that?
No, it's just if someone has a friend that has not seen this show, have them listen through the entire album and see if they can tell you what the plot is.
I mean, let's take something like Wicked. Wicked, you listen to that cast album, you're gonna get a general idea of what happens there. You know what everyone wants and their
If you
relationships
listen,
and all that.
most musicals, I would say almost all musicals that are on the stage, if you listen to the entire album, you will at least have a general idea of what happens in the story. With this, the only thing you could possibly get is that there is a show and that's about it.
Let's take the song Come Alive for a second.
Yeah.
That song is possibly the second most useless song in the entire show, but it is a montage of him getting his gang together.
Yes.
But the lyrics mean nothing. But it's really cool how it's shot. The slow-mo used in this song is great. It looks cool. The dancing is great. My God, it means nothing. Come alive? Come alive and go on stage, I guess. But means nothing.
It really, and that's just like the title alone. I mean, the lyrics of it is just, it's just a pop song. Like it's just a pop song. And I really feel like a lot of it was done because they wanted these to be, and they were, so they succeeded. They wanted these to be radio hits. Yeah, they wanted songs that would play in your local Target when you went to buy an orange juice. You know, you go in there, get your orange juice, and you're hearing A Million Dreams on the radio. You know.
But let's think about this story-wise. We could end the story right here. We could have elongated all the pieces where he finds his wife and, like, tries and scrounges for money and creates the circus. This could be the end of our story right here, but it isn't.
Well, I mean, technically, if we go with visual storytelling and everything as well, the Million Dreams song, what he wants is to be with his wife, the wife character, and to be a success. So by this second song, immediately after the I Want song, he has already achieved all of that.
Okay, hero's journey bullshit aside, how a story works, you have a goal, your character achieves that goal about 2/3 through, then realizes that wasn't truly what he wants, and then reevaluates his goal and finds what he actually wants by the end. That is basic storytelling structure.
You usually don't want them to find out what they want and achieve it like within 10 minutes.
Yes, that is our issue here. Like, 2/3 of a hero story is done by the 15-minute mark, and then you still got an hour and a half of the last third of that story, of him discovering what really matters, quote unquote.
Yeah, so the whole rest of this is him discovering that what really mattered to him the whole time was his family. Which is kind of odd because he kind of already discovered that in the beginning here.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I mean,
he kind
there
of...
is the argument that, like, his success harms his family and that the daughters are ostracized from the other girls because they're not rich in the right ways.
Yeah, but he never actually really solves that. He just kind of embraces it, and his daughters just have to deal, I guess.
Yeah, that's literally it. He's like, why are you stopping ballet? I don't like the girls. Well, too bad!
Yeah, because, I mean, he literally, what happens is his daughters are getting ostracized because he's rich the wrong way. He's rich for dealing with the lower classes of society, and that's why he's rich. And
Andrew,
everyone hates.
Do you know what
everyone
that
hates
smell
new
is?
money. What's that?
Peanuts. Ha ha ha. Fuck you, girl.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
That's a line from the movie.
It is the line
I
from
didn't
the
write
movie.
That.
Yeah. Okay. So his daughters are getting ostracized, so he decides, oh, I need to impress this theater critic who is like highbrow, and that'll get him on my side. So then he goes off with the opera singer to try to do
Hold
that.
on, we're talking about plot again. We're in the song section.
No.
So
I'm just going here because this is terrible. Okay, he goes off with the opera singer, and then his realization, so from this point, his new problem is that his daughters are ostracized, and then he goes to try to fix that, only to realize that him trying to fix that was the wrong thing to do, and he should be with his family instead. So then he comes back to his family and just doesn't fix that problem, and that's never brought up again.
It's the greatest show!
So, the last 2/3 of this is him finding a new problem, trying to solve it, and then realizing that he shouldn't solve it, and then it ends.
Not good enough for that. You know what? The girls will deal. Well, he tries to solve it. He gets I guess he does get the acclaim, but the daughters and wife are just unhappy with that because he's not there, I guess. So really, the true greatest show were the friends we made along the way.
All right, what's the next song that, well, none of them matter, so, I mean, what do we do?
This one matters. That's the only reason why I want to talk about it. The Other Side, which is probably the most important plot-based song, and I think the best song in the show, technically.
Well, it's intriguing, but to go would cost me greatly. So what percentage of the show would I be taking?
Fair enough, you'd want a piece of all the action. I'd give you 7. We could shake and make it happen.
I wasn't born this morning. 18 would be just fine.
Why not just go ahead and ask for nickels on the dime?
15.
I'd do 8, 12, maybe 9, 10.
Don't you wanna get away to a whole new part you're gonna play? 'Cause I got what you need, so come with me and take the ride to the other side.
If you're looking at it as a musical and, looking for lyrical analysis and like what actually, tells a story in an efficient way, then yes. If you're looking at like what's the catchiest song that plays on the radio the most, definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most important song, as in we start the song in one place and end in a different place.
Yeah.
There's a goal from each character. Each character has a motivation for entering the song.
They still manage to weasel their way out of doing anything. Like, it's a song about a business deal, and they never actually, in the song, address the actual business deal. They more just kind of vaguely gesture at the fact that it is a business deal. If that makes sense.
They literally talk numbers at one point. He's like, they're talking percentages, like...
Yeah, percentages of what?
Of the earnings.
Yeah, for what?
There is one line that addresses the circus. There is one.
Is there? I didn't catch it if that's true.
Only because there is a physical reaction where he does this, and he's like, I live among the swells so I don't pick up peanut shells. I guess I'll leave that up to you. That is the one time where they allude to it.
Oh, okay, so that is probably the most plot relevant line in the whole thing, because that actually directly relates. Like, what I'm saying is, like, the numbers and stuff, this could be about anything. This could be two stock traders. This could be people opening a restaurant. Like, that could be any deal,
There's also the line, I like that show you do. Like, that's a line. I think that's
I think that's a line.
Now I admire you and that whole show you do. You're onto something, really, it's something. But I live among the swells and I don't pick up peanut shells. I'll have to leave that up to you. That is the couplet.
So that's the
it is still vague.
The most engaged in the story we ever get. There is literally not a song in this show that uses the word circus.
Show is said a lot, though.
Show is said a lot, but show could mean a lot of things.
Yes, it could. Oh my god, is this a musical theater equivalent of a One Direction song where it's like, it could be about you, girl. Girl, this is about you. No, you don't know you're beautiful, and that's what makes you beautiful. Like, literally, that's it. You can make these songs mean anything to you.
Could we somehow just, like, take these same songs and just make a movie about Walt Disney instead and just...
We could. It starts the premiere of Snow White, and he's like, ladies and gents, this is the moment you waited for.
Like, this is the greatest show!
And then, like, the seven dwarves come in behind him. And then we cut to him as a child, like, trying to... Okay, we're doing this now.
Come alive. He hires a bunch of people to work at his amusement park, and he's like, come alive!
No, I'm dedicating to this bit. So the climax literally has to be about nothing. So the climax is the premiere of Mary Poppins, all right? Because that was, like, his last big thing. So,
okay.
We start at the premiere of Mary Poppins, like, this is the greatest show. Penguins come out and shit. Then we flash back to him when he was a child, growing up, like, delivering papers with his father, Elias. And he's like, a million dreams are keeping me awake. And then he goes... All right, we got that song, all right?
Yeah, it's still... Everything still makes perfect sense, so...
Then he meets Bob Iwerks, and he starts gathering, like, the 9 old men animators. Come alive, come alive. But you know what? He needs to make a deal, and they stole Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Universal.
That's true.
They stole that from him. So he makes a new deal, or he has to convince someone, his brother, Roy Disney, and he's like, you know what? You need to come into this business with me. He's like, don't you want to get away from the like, you know that?
Yeah.
And he takes him to the other side. But you know what? The war hits, and his oh shit, this actually works. Okay, so do you...
This actually works, he says.
The problem is it does.
And you don't even have to change. You don't have to change any lyrics. It's perfect.
No, because he got these animators, these groups of vagabonds. But you know what? They want to get paid a decent wage. They unionize. They start striking. This is me. Look out, 'cause here we come. All right, there, and he's like, "Oh no, my people are going out." And then Roy Disney meets his wife or something, and they rewrite the stars. It's not important. And then Walt Disney's wife is like, "I miss Walt. He's never home with me and my daughters." And she sings that Tightrope song, And then at the end, he gets his animators back just in time to finish the animation of Mary Poppins. From now on, these eyes will not be watered by the light.
I mean, honestly, it would probably work just fine. Because really, there's nothing in these songs that has anything to do with the story that happens.
I feel like that pitch, that 2-minute pitch, made more sense than the last 50 minutes have. So I really feel like you should stick with this and you should make something out of this because I think it could be good.
Andrew and I have legitimately talked about writing a Walt Disney musical, sincerely.
Yeah, we'll call it The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, like literally, we don't even change it. Nothing will change about it, except it is about Walt Disney.
Who, you know what? Walt Disney, I think, is an objectively better person than P.T. Barnum, so...
And Walt Disney is anti-Semitic as fuck. Like,
yeah,
on
but
the
he's...
record, but it's still a better person than P.T. Barnum.
He's still not P.T. Barnum. I mean...
And you know what? Arguably, he has changed more. Like, his A Million Dreams did change the world a lot more than P.T. Barnum's.
Well, yeah, I mean, is the Barnum Company, like, one of the major media empires?
No, it's shut down.
Yeah, it doesn't even exist anymore, so...
Yeah, The Other Side is an alright song. Do we want to talk about Never Enough? I do briefly, because this is the worst song in the entire show, and I hate it so much.
Is this the one that she's, like, the opera singer sings?
Yes, it is.
All the shine of 1,000 spotlights, all the stars we steal from the night sky will never be enough, never be enough. Towers of gold are still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough, never be enough.
I don't even, like, remember it. I remember being a little upset that they didn't even do, like, an opera pastiche or anything.
The
like, they didn't even
greatest
try.
opera singer in the world sings an Adele song. Never
Yeah.
enough, never. It's so boring. It, like, literally stops the entire movie just to be like, let's all watch her sing on stage.
Yeah, and unlike all of the better numbers, there's no dancing,
No.
which makes this a very boring number.
It's, like, shot like the rest of the dialogue scenes, and by that I mean badly.
Yeah. Like, even following right up with the This Is Me number right afterwards, like,
Yes.
that is just so much higher energy and, like, the dancing, and it's just more fun to watch. I mean, this is just a really boring number in the movie.
Yeah, and you hear it like 10 times because she goes on tour and sings it a bunch. Then she has a reprise of it when P.T. Barnum says, "Oh, I love my wife. I don't want to cheat on her with you, lady."
Yep, and they... Oh, you know what? I didn't even mention the songs. How many times do they do the thing where it, like, the music, the backing track stops and they slow down and it's just the vocals? They do that like 5 times. They do that like 5 fucking times.
That's their thing. It works once. It works really well during This Is Me because literally they're frozen in the air and they shout with a super slow-mo camera, motion control.
Yeah.
That works. Every other time it's like lame. Especially
it's just
during the opening number where it's like, "This is where I wanna be." Do, 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 do.
Yeah, and it doesn't even make sense. It's like, why are you, like, it's supposed to be like this, like, lamenting or something like that. I don't even know. Like, remorse, who knows? Just some sort of sadness to it. But they do it 5 fucking times and it really loses all of it.
It's a realization, Andrew. They're realizing something.
It really loses all of its magic after the, like, first time. It's just like, you're just doing the same tricks over and over. Just end strong. End strong. If you have a good number, end it strong.
Look at One Day More. One Day More, if it ended on a fizzle, no one would care.
Yeah, imagine One Day More, it ends that last big note that they do. It's just Valjean just singing by himself with no music.
One more dawn, one more day, one day more.
It's just like,
Curtains!
oof, ouch, ah. I'm surprised they didn't do that in the Les Mis movie.
You know what? It wouldn't have surprised me. Remember, like, they basically did that with Who Am I, if you remember, where he's like, Who am I? Who am I? I'm Jean Valjean. Instead of like, I'm Jean Valjean. Which is how it's done in the show.
You're right. And that's because that's how actors want it to be. They They're
That's
like,
how actors
oh,
act.
I'm sad, so go quiet. It's like, come on.
I mean, that's kind of a thing with film actors. They think the quieter they are, the more a change in their vocal timbre will like be picked up, which on one hand I kind of get with like more intimate pieces, but for a musical, give us big, give us more.
Yeah, you are singing your emotions. You're not speaking them.
Yes.
So
you're
just
supposed to sing.
fucking go for it.
Let's talk about the final-ish number from now on. I've learned my lesson, and I will not be blinded by the light.
I drink champagne with kings and queens. The politicians praise my name. But those were someone else's dreams, the pitfalls of the man I became. For years and years, I chased their cheers, a crazy speed of always needing more. But when I stop and see you here, I remember who all this was for.
It's bad.
Yeah, I mean,
It's fun to watch, and he's running after a train, and then he like wins his wife back by going to a beach.
yeah, same. I mean, it's the same beach
I
they went to.
totally didn't cheat on you. I didn't cheat on you. I'm singing a song. Let's go.
It's the same beach they went to for the Million Dreams song, and
I guess
it's whatever.
it's whatever. This movie's whatever. I think that's a perfect way to review this film. It's whatever.
I had some fun watching it. It's like eye candy with pop songs. So if you like pop songs and you like dancing and well edited, it is well edited dancing. I'll say that.
Yes, well, one of the best edited dancing. Like for dancing and overall musical numbers, the shot composition, the use of camera, and editing of dance, it is great.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a shame that we're a musical podcast because I think as a movie, it works okay. But as a musical, it is an utter failure. And if this ever went on stage, which, God forbid, I hope this never goes on stage, it would be a disaster.
It will, 100% will. You know this. Andrew, you know this. You know that this is just an inevitable. It's a countdown.
Yeah, well, when this goes on stage, I hope it gets the reviews it deserves because, I mean, this is... We've talked about what, Frank Wildhorn, his lyrics not having anything to do with the plot. This is like 100 times worse.
I think that was your exact message to me when you finished it. Like, this is the best Frank Wildhorn musical I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's more entertaining than some of his stuff, but the lyrical wise, it's awful.
My God. I guess, what else can we say except what's your overall thoughts and your cheese rating, Andrew?
Oh, goodness. I didn't even think of a cheese rating. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just make one up. Okay. Overall thoughts? I mean, I think I've been pretty clear. I enjoyed some aspects of it, namely the dancing and how the dancing was shot, and the fact that the songs have nothing to do with the plot, so you can really enjoy them without having to worry about the absolute mess of a plot that it is. The cons, on the other hand, are that the plot is a disaster, the lyrics have absolutely nothing to do with it, so it's not really a musical. Although not being a musical, I mean, I guess that's not a negative. I don't know. Depends what you want to get from it, I guess. And the fact that P.T. Barnum was a absolutely terrible person, and this show makes it look like he was some sort of whimsical wizard of entertainment, which, no, he was very bad. But, yeah, cheese rating, I mean, I don't even know. I need something that's like half good and half bad, almost. So I'm not really sure if there's a cheese that fits that. Can I think about it and come back to me on that?
Sure. Bree, what'd you think of our discussion and your cheese rating for that?
Well, I really think you guys kind of hated on it. Hated on it because it was a conservative masterpiece. But
You know what? You're right. You're right.
You're right. I can't even argue.
But you guys are just like fake news, and like no one listens to you anyway. So no, I'm just kidding.
Liberal shills listen to us. Let's be fair.
Yes, those liberal shells. No. But okay, so my cheese rating this week, I was looking at some research, and some data from Simon's research says that You are more likely to be conservative if you liked Kraft Velveeta cheese.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
So yeah.
How do they even determine that?
Okay, so basically what they did was they like looked at the two groups, like liberal and conservative, and they basically like looked at what they like about certain food groups. And so like it was from the dairy, like your dairy product. So you lean more liberal if Stonyfield yogurt was your dairy product choice, and you leaned more conservative if you liked Kraft Velveeta cheese.
Is this just because conservatives live in rural areas where they don't have access to real, like, food?
It's possible.
Cheese nips. They eat cheese nips.
But it's really interesting. So like if you look at this, like they've split it up between, I don't know, like maybe 50 different things. So like they have like a type of craft beer on here. They have a non-alcoholic beverage. So like conservatives leaned more Diet Pepsi, whereas liberals were more LaCroix.
Oh, okay.
This is more like just class analysis, I feel like, than anything else.
Probably. It's interesting.
Man, Americans with their politics. This is what we do with politically. We're like, wow, politics? What can we do with that? What do conservatives like to eat?
Yeah, it's really
what do
they
liberals like to eat?
What do liberals like to eat?
Do people even need to eat?
Guys, let's not discuss politics unless we're talking about what each group eats.
Yes. What do you eat when you go to your prison camps? And what do you eat while you shoot your lasers off your roof? And l'chaim.
Are you talking about
it?
Jewish space lasers?
Yeah. Isn't that what that insane lady said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Bree. Great cheese rating. A+.
Thank you. And people do listen to you, I know. And I love our liberal listeners.
We love you, liberal
I don't
listeners.
think we have any conservative listeners.
Oh, I hope not. If you are, there should be some changes made in your life.
We do not
Haven't
support
we
Trump.
come out as an officially anarchist podcast? I feel like we've done that recently.
I mean, we are Antifa, so
Yeah, we are
guess.
strictly Antifa.
yeah, we are strictly anti-fascist on this show.
So you guys remember that our Antifa meeting is, on that day we said it was.
Do you know what most left-leaning people in America like to eat?
What?
Bullets.
This is the greatest show! I didn't like The Greatest Showman. I have never enjoyed
Wow, you
it
didn't
anytime
like it,
I've
Jess?
watched
Wow,
it.
we could have never gotten that.
I have not enjoyed it anytime I've watched it. I give it the leftover cheese sticks at the Barnum and Bailey Circus still just chilling in the fucking refrigerator because it's that bad. It's reused, pointless, trite nonsense. But you know what? The musical numbers are shot pretty well, and for a directorial debut of a brand new director, I give it a pretty good score. I would love to see him do more musicals. I would actually like to see him do a musical that's already established, that has like a set structure already pre-made for him. I think he would do very well in that. I really, as much as I don't like this film and I don't think it's good, I don't think it's his fault.
I think you're right, and I'm gonna give it a grilled cheese on moldy bread.
Because the cheese is good.
The cheese is
Cheese
good.
is the problem.
The cheese is really good. It's really the rest of it, like the sandwich, that's really making it not great.
Man. But you know who is pretty great, Andrew?
Our wonderful patrons.
Our wonderful patrons.
I already said
Thank you guys
it.
for listening. Please follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Musicals with Cheese. We have very fragile egos, and if it's not constantly stroked, we're really gonna just die inside of ourselves. So leave us a review on iTunes, or else you and I are not gonna be best friends in real life. Follow us on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals, on Patreon at Musicals with Cheese, Instagram Musicals with Cheese, YouTube page Musicals with Cheese. We have a Patreon-only podcast currently covering Gallivant. It's called Patreon with Cheese. If you're not on Patreon, you're gonna miss out. Email us at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our transcriptions are by Masha Litvinova. Thank you very much, Masha, for being amazing. We're so grateful to have you on our team. Our title card was created by Jolene Casco. Go send her some love on Instagram at Jolene Casco. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonio. We love you, Juliet. This show is produced by the beautiful, the hilarious, the sweet, the cunning, the best person I know, Brianna Jones. There she is. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for not kicking us off the platform yet. It's coming, though. One day. Yeah, it's bound to happen. It's like the anvil's gonna fall on us. It's just, we gotta make sure that we're prepared for it. All right, guys, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
No.
Wow, you guys are lame. Andrew, grab my trapeze string. What if we rewrite the stars? Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
I mean, it was a pretty cool scene. I think it was fun what they did with it.
Wow.
I'm not
All
going to
right,
sing with
we'll
you,
see. We'll see you next time on Musicals with Cheese. Bye, guys. Come on, Andrew, sing along with me. What if we rewrite the stars?
Rewrite 'em.
Rewrite 'em. That's not even the good song from that movie.